celebrating 15 years of this beloved foolery.
You know the difference between Jeff and Jeremy and a U.S. savings bond? One of them eventually matures and earns money. Jeff is such a douchebag.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
Good morning, it's Jeff and Jeremy.
Going to Wichita.
Apparently, it's 420.
Seven Nation Army. Couldn't hold me back.
420 means that, I don't even know what the I know we've talked about this. I can't remember what 420 means.
I thought it was the arrest code for having marijuana.
Oh, maybe we got a 420.
All right, we got a 420 over here.
Yeah, that could be it. That definitely could be it. Anyways, yeah, our resident pothead is no longer with us, so I don't know what to do on 420. You know.
Oh, interesting that she decided to take on a new job before 420.
Yeah, well, she always takes 420 off anyways. It's her wedding anniversary. When you are so dedicated to smoking or imbibing.
Yeah, what if
is it imbibing? What do? You imbibe it. Yeah, marijuana, cannabis is the hip kids call it now. That you get married and then always take a vacation day on 420. That is dedication, my friend.
Did I ever tell you about the guy I worked with at the parking lot where his job was to drive cars around?
Yeah, you told me a lot of story about these guys, and I don't know if I've heard this one or not, but it sounded like you had a cast of characters when you worked at the what was it, the Dollar Park and Fly in Seattle?
Yeah, it was the Park and Fly in SeaTac at the airport. You can see actually when you're getting on the freeway there from leaving the airport facility, if you're on a bus or in your car, you can see a big key turning in the side in the sky, and it says Park and Fly.
Yeah.
And at this Park and Fly place, I don't know if it's still there. Don't go to that cesspool, God-forsaken hellhole.
I haven't been there in a long time. I have no interest in going back.
That is Seattle.
Well, I'm going this summer. But.
You see that, anyways, he lived in an apartment up the street, and he'd always walk to work. And he said to me, hey, man, this is kind of a big day for me. Do you mind covering the tail end of my shift? Or no, he had just started. That's right. He started at 3. His shift was 3 to 11.
Okay.
Do you mind if I go home and then covering me? Because my shift was getting over at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I was like, yeah, I'll stay. I'll stay a little bit extra. It's no problem. You just live up the street, right? And this is my problem with the imbiber, Jeremy. Is the imbiber forgets where the hell he's supposed to be when he or she is imbibing and doing the that time it was smoking.
Yeah, sure.
And next thing you know, it's like 8 o'clock at night, and he comes walking down the hill. I'm like, dude, you said for like an hour. He's like, I know, man. I just lost track of time. I'm like, I'm the only one here. We went through a couple rushes at this point.
Smash, smash.
Exactly.
Can't stop, won't stop, puffing on the isms.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's, you can't count on a pot smoker. That's kind of been my thing for a long time. It's like, if you're going to be friends with a pot smoker, you have to understand there's going to be some bullet points. There's going to be some the rules that you have to agree with, and that is that they're probably great people. They're really fun to hang out with, but don't ever count on them if you need a favor, and don't ever count on them to. Not that they're lying to you, but if they tell you something, you just realize that they're a pot smoker, and it may not quite be the way that they say it's going to go.
They'll never, ever, ever be on time, ever. I mean, that's a side effect of the cannabis. Is you will see frequent bouts of being late to whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing.
Recently, you've been very sick, maybe not in the last week or so, but you've been dealing with something for quite some time, and I think I figured out what was wrong with you. I know you went to the doctor. You thought you may have had the long COVID. They said you don't have the long COVID. They told you some other things, but there's new news out. I don't know if you heard about it from the FDA, something that people have been consuming and been making people very sick, and I think you had a lot of the same symptoms, and maybe you, listening, have had these too. We'll get to that right after the break.
Spending 4 hours in a box together every day can make you say crazy things. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
This is your home for the KZOZ Big Gas Grab. You hear two songs from the same artist back to back. Text the word gas to 805-543-3693. And then get ready for us to call you back. Answer the phone, KZOZ Big Gas Grab. We'll get you qualified to be a winner. Yeah.
Catch Lucky. He's got Lucky Charms.
Well, I don't think so.
Always have to be Lucky Charms, the crunchy old cereal with a...
The Food and Drug Administration is investigating reports of illnesses possibly linked to Lucky Charms cereal, but little information is available. Several hundred people, maybe even thousands, have posted on a food safety website complaining of nausea, diarrhea, vomiting after eating Lucky Charms. Here's the official report.
The Food and Drug Administration is investigating reports of people getting sick after eating Lucky Charms cereal. Consumers have reported symptoms including nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting.
Diarrhea.
So far, the agency has not issued a formal
Is it
alert.
named after where it comes
Cereal
from?
maker General Mills says it is looking into the issue, but they have yet to find any evidence of illness linked to its cereal.
Oh, diarrhea. I've never heard it called that before.
You know, that diarrhea.
Yeah, it'll come back to get you every time. So I know you're a big fan. You talk about this. You talk about
I
how you
love Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms.
I love Lucky Charms.
And I used to like them as a kid, but man, now as an adult, I just think about those marshmallows and how sweet they were.
It's the perfect balance. You got the Cheerios essentially mixed with. Although I will say this, they need to go back to like the 90s formula, which they never will, because the more sugar, the better for the cereals. But the 90s formula of the Lucky Charms did not have as much sugar coating on the oat pieces as they do now. Like now, there's a lot of sugar on them, and they could probably cut back on that and have the marshmallows take over, because they've introduced more marshmallows into the mix, and the balance of that boring and spectacular was perfect. It just meets in the middle, and that's why I like them so much. I still like them. I just wish they would cut back a little bit on the sugar when I'm eating them dry.
Yeah.
On the oats, because I like that mixture.
You know, and there are some cereals that I like, and I'm more of a Honey Nut Cheerios kind of person. Or
those are good.
I'm sorry, they're not Frosted, just Fruity Pebbles. Because Fruity Pebbles are good, but they're not like over the top. They don't just pour extra sugar coating frosting on top of it. But, you know, really? I haven't had a lot of those cereals in a long time. No, Fruity Pebbles are just kind of, and they don't leave that film on your mouth.
I'm going to have to go try
Fruit Loops.
Fruity
Remember
Pebbles
Fruit Loops?
Again.
I don't think I could ever do Fruit Loops again, because they always used to leave a film on the roof of my mouth. I didn't like that.
Or Captain Crunch, which just tears up the roof of your mouth like a cheese grater.
Oh, well, yeah, a little bit. You got to be careful with that. I do like Captain Crunch. I haven't had it in a long
like
time.
to eat my
with the
cereal
Crunch Berries
immediately after I pour my milk into it. I can't let it get soggy. And with Captain Crunch, in order for your safety, you have to let it get soggy.
At least 2 minutes. At least 2 minutes, and you got to be mixing it. And then, you know, maybe 4 would be the best, but you're right.
Because I love the flavor of Captain Crunch. It's great. It's just what it does to your mouth is harsh.
Did you go through your shelves and get rid of all the Lucky Charms in your house just to be safe, so you don't get your kids sick and they're not pooping their pants at school or camp or wherever they are?
The non-sensationalized news report that I heard on it was about 100 people. You said hundreds, several hundreds, then 1,000.
Well, that was according to this story. Yes, several hundred. I did add possibly thousands.
Exactly. because you're a student of broadcast journalism.
Hey, if CNN can do it, we can all do it.
If Minka could, hey, listen, I'm not just going to let Minka shape the narrative. I'm going to shape the narrative too.
Yeah, you keep saying Minka. I don't know who that is. I just know Minka Kelly. Is it Minka Kelly?
No, it's not. Minka is the co-host on Morning Joe. She married Morning Joe, and she's the one that got caught saying the other day that Elon Musk should not be allowed to shape the narrative because that's our job.
Imagine what it's like. I've seen that clown with the glasses and Minka and just being a fly on the wall in their house.
Nope. I don't want to picture anything that goes on in their house.
Can you imagine how ridiculous these two are?
Oh, yeah.
How great they think they are, and their friends they talk about, and they probably go to the opera. I mean, nothing wrong with the opera, but the way they talk about going to the opera.
Oh, there's everything wrong with the opera. What are you talking about?
I've always wanted to go. I've never been. I want to go to one opera. Sure, you got to go to one, right, and see if you like it.
My symptoms of my sickness were nothing. I did not have diarrhea. I did not have
You had nausea. You told me you were nauseous a little bit, I thought.
No.
Just joint pain?
Oh, no. It was gnarly. It was like I felt like I had COVID for 2 weeks. Then it went away.
So you're saying it was worse than COVID?
The moment it went away, I woke up the next day. I was like, all right, let's take on the day. I put my feet on the ground, and it felt like somebody broke my ankles in the middle of the night. Wow. It was the craziest thing. And come to find out, like I went to the doctor. They got it figured out, I think. And some viruses, I got a virus.
Okay.
And it's going around, too. I've heard of a lot of people getting a virus. And I got this virus, and then it turned into this, like, joint pain situation. It'll cause you to have temporary arthritis.
Oh, wow.
And in some people, the virus causes permanent arthritis. Now,
what did you do to treat it? Let it run its course, or was there actually antibiotics?
Tons of ibuprofen.
Okay. Well,
which is great for the liver.
Yeah, that manages pain, but that doesn't.
That's all they said you could do.
Okay.
I said, I guess with viruses, like antibiotics don't really work all that well. You have to let it run its course. Remember when I got the Coxsackie virus?
Oh, the foot and mouth. Yeah.
Yes. I thought I was turning into a zombie.
You need to be more healthy, man. You know what you need
went
to do?
to the doctor.
You got these kids that are running around with their friends, and their friends are running around with other dirty kids. Not literally dirty, but I'm just saying, kids are... There's stuff called wellness formula. You can buy it just about anywhere now, and it's vitamins.
I call it emergency.
Well, no, it's wellness formula. It's a totally different thing, and it's
which I wasn't taking.
It's a little bit more expensive, but it really works. And as soon as you start to feel crappy, you take 6 of these vitamins. 6 at once is a lot, but it works. It's amazing. It's really good.
I like vitamin I better.
Wellness formula.
Ibuprofen. I haven't went to the store. I got that Aspercream stuff to rub on my joints, which actually
I'm not
works
90. I don't know what that is.
Oh no, it makes you smell like an old person.
Of course, it
you
does.
smell like an old person.
Like the old Ben Gay.
Like the pain was so unbearable. I had to do it. I couldn't do it. Maybe I should have imbibed a little.
Yes.
during the process.
That's actually very helpful.
That would have helped out quite a bit, I imagine.
I think I told you I hurt my back a couple weeks ago, and my wife had some CBD salve she put on my back. It was totally fine after that. Crazy.
Oh,
that
you're
stuff is a
listening to
miracle.
old guy with ailment talk right now.
On 420, man. Booga. Here we go. Whoops, sorry, I don't have that on.
Can't stop, won't stop, puffing on the isms. Get more stone, twist another bone. More cheaper, more cheaper. Can't stop, won't stop, puffing on the isms.
All right, don't forget, keep listening for the same artist with 2 songs back to back. Text the word gas in. It's the KZOZ Big Gas Grab. Somebody's going to be a $500 winner soon.
Careful, you don't want to learn from this. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
All right, so a lot of talk about Colin Kaepernick. He says he's willing to come back as a backup. He's still trying to get into the NFL. Now, there was a lot of talk with him in Seattle. He was trying out. He did some routes and ran some runs or whatever plays, whatever, with a couple Seattle receivers. But now, what happened in Seattle? I think this was, what is today? Today is Wednesday. So I think it happened on Friday. They re-signed Geno Smith, who was their backup that they released. But now that Russell Wilson is gone, they brought him back. What does that mean?
Geno Smith, not a very good driver under the influence.
Oh, yeah, he ran into some trouble there, didn't he? Colin has still been trying to get in. Colin Kaepernick has been trying to get in since He was released from the San Francisco 49ers, and he's looking for another shot to play quarterback.
Are you willing to do what Carmelo Anthony did? NBA, take league minimum. If an opportunity presented itself today and they said, we want to bring you in as the backup, would you take that?
Yeah.
You'll take that? If an opportunity...
I know I have to find my way back in. So, yeah, if I have to come in as a backup, that's fine. But that's not where I'm staying. And when I prove that I'm a starter, I want to be able to step on the field as such. I just need that opportunity to walk through the door.
You know, he had a lot of things going for him when he played in the NFL. Tall guy, strong arm.
Fast.
Good runner, too.
Super fast.
Yeah, really fast guy.
I loved watching him throw passes. I mean, watching him throw passes, which was to the detriment of his receivers oftentimes because dude had a gun.
Well, that was the problem. It's like he didn't have control. Like, he definitely had the arm, but it was like, and maybe that comes with experience, to make sure that you can get the ball to the guy that's catchable, not one that's going to rip his hands off. And
zero touch, but everything, like getting it there fast, he had the ability to do that for sure.
You know, I'm a big fan.
Only Richard Sherman could stop him.
Big fan of comeback stories. And so I would like to see this guy have his shots. I think he got distracted with some social issues, and I don't know if that was something that he'll regret. Probably not regret, but realize that definitely had an effect on his NFL playing career, because I think a lot of reasons why teams didn't touch him was because there was too much distraction around him at the time. And now I feel like that has kind of gone into the background a little bit, and maybe now he gets his chance.
Oh, no. I think if he gets a chance, it's because it's a forced chance. I mean,
explain forced. What do you mean?
Well, I think people in the league want to push it because it's good from a social justice standpoint to make the headline of giving him a shot as a backup quarterback. But I don't know how he's really going to help out a team. Now, you have been away from the game for 5 years. You know how much changes in the NFL in 5 years? Right. And I've heard the argument before, well, there's backup quarterbacks that haven't taken snaps in the last 5 years. But the problem with that is they have taken snaps. They've taken snaps in practice, and they've been on rosters in which they know the game plan and the tendencies of their teammates. Over the last 5 years, regardless of what team they're playing for, they get the reps in. He has not gotten the reps in 5 years. I'm sorry, that is too long to be away from the game to come in and be effective, especially at his age. Okay? He's I don't even know how old he is, but he's definitely in his 30s, right?
Well,
he's about the same age as Russell Wilson.
Most of the players that he's going to be playing with were in high school when he was playing, or junior high, even junior high. So, you know, they know the guy, they know the name, they know the story, all that kind of stuff. You know, the backup quarterbacks that apparently people are saying, well, they haven't been in an actual game. And well, look at Geno Smith, for example. You know, he came in for the Seahawks when Russ got hurt, and they won that game. They went down. Didn't they win that game? Yes, they went down the field. They went down, was it 100 yards or something like that? And they scored that first touchdown, and you could tell everybody rallying around Geno because he's been on the team for years. He's been there as a backup. Yes, he hasn't actually got a start in an NFL game, but he's been there at practice. Like you said, the camaraderie is around him. You bring in somebody completely new, and, you know, that's something you have to build. And I'm not saying he shouldn't get the chance. I like to hear a good comeback story. I just don't know where it's going to be. But I'm sure somebody will have a spot for him somewhere as a backup, don't you think? Don't you think there's one team out there that will at least bring him on?
His best opportunity is right now. Go to Birmingham. Go to Birmingham and play for one of those teams that are playing in that USFL right now and prove that you can do it at that level and then get a shot at the NFL level. Why not treat it like anybody else that's been away from the game for 5 years? I'm just talking about it from a football standpoint, right, not from a PR standpoint, not from a social justice warrior standpoint, because at the end of the day, football teams are in it for one reason: to make money and to win football games. How do you make money? You win football games.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. Yeah, for sure. Your thoughts always available on the 805 Beer text line, 805-543-3693. Send your comments in there. Live the 805 lifestyle. Log on to 805beer.com. Yeah. Here we go. It's Dumbass of the Day, and it's brought to you by California Diesel and RV. They work on diesel engines. If you've got a truck that runs on diesel, how about an RV? or a fleet of vehicles that you need managed and maintenance, they're California Diesel and RV. Stop by and see them in Oceano, 1189 Pike Lane in Oceano.
How pathetic can some people be?
I woke up this morning sick of all days to get sick, and it's frightening because we have these mosquitoes that are spreading the encephalitis around, you know. I took a whole bottle of this flu medicine, but I took the daytime version because I had some stuff to do, you know, the non-drowsy formula. Holy. I wasn't tired, but I spent the day staring at my reflection in the toaster. Apparently what keeps you up is the LSD in that. Sniffling, sneezing, trade your head for your ass medicine.
Dumbass of...
Oh, sorry. Dumbass of the day. I clicked off it. I had to get to the other sound. Apparently, the other day, when Pat McAfee broke the news on his
podcast /
SiriusXM / YouTube show, I don't know what Pat McAfee does. Dude cracks me up more than anything because widely disrespected as a punter in the NFL because he was a punter in the NFL and like overcompensates for it largely after retiring from the NFL. And he sounds now like a professional wrestler. Love this guy.
Breaking! A federal judge in Florida has voided the national mask mandate covering airports, planes, and other public travel via @Breaking911, a news Twitter account. Breaking! We beat COVID!
When I first heard this, I was thinking, you're so naive. We haven't beat COVID.
No.
Actually, we beat COVID probably a long time ago. It's just our government that we haven't beat. They're still the ones that are going to.
I think that's the irony
smackdown
in the celebration from the Pat McAfee show. Staff, bad news coming out of the NFL draft, though. This from Mel Kiper Jr.'s Twitter account. The NFL draft is the highlight of my year, and I am looking forward to taking part in my 39th this month on ESPN. For all 3 days, I will appear from my home studio in Maryland rather than on site in Vegas, as I am unvaccinated from COVID-19. Apparently, we haven't beat COVID. I completely support everyone determining what's best for their individual circumstance and recognize the value of vaccines. Simply put, my COVID vaccination decision is very specific to my own personal medical history. I appreciate my colleagues, particularly the production staff and my fellow commentators. This is him licking Mickey Mouse's shoe right now. I appreciate my colleagues, particularly the production staff and my fellow commentators, for their support and flexibility. NFL fans, now he moves on to Roger Goodell's boots. NFL fans are the most passionate in all of sports, and I can't wait for another great NFL draft because I'm a company guy.
So, I don't understand. Is he taking himself out of the equation because he hasn't got a vaccine, or was he told that he couldn't be there because he's not vaccinated?
He was told he couldn't be there because he was unvaccinated, because Vegas knows, everybody knows Vegas is like the cleanest city in the world.
Well,
correct?
you don't have to be vaccinated to go to Vegas, though.
No, you don't. But when you work for Disney and ESPN,
Disney, ABC,
you need to make sure that you are compliant with the regime.
Yes.
And in all ways, shapes, or form. And they're like, hey, Mel Kiper Jr., the star of the draft, really, for ESPN. And has been for
decades.
35 years, okay?
Sure. Literally will be working from his mom's basement. The jokes have been around for decades.
About him, yes. You got your career starting in your mom's basement, and it might end in your mom's basement.
I know this drives you nuts, and I know you're making him dumbass of the day because he's kissing
I'm not
their
making
ass.
Mel. I'm not making Mel dumbass.
You're going to make the Disney Corporation, I know. And he's just doing what he's got to do. Listen, he's got one job a year, and I'm sure he gets paid fairly handsomely for doing it. We talk about, teachers, they get the summers off. Fishermen, they get, most of the year off except for when they need to go fish. He's got, a couple of weeks.
I'd probably be licking Mickey Mouse's boots and Roger Goodell's boots in my official Twitter announcement as to why I'm not going to be there as well, just because it's such a great gig. You literally have to work 3-5 months a year. I mean, it's great.
We'll all be looking back at this time in our lives one day, and we will probably have a good laugh and go, wow, what the hell were we thinking? Or what the hell was going on in the world?
Wild Man writes in on the 805 Beer text line, says, boo frickin' who? You work for commies. Suck it up, Cupcake. Congratulations to the commies. ESPN. I'm not talking about the Washington Commanders. That's a different commie. You are Jeff and Jeremy's
Dumbass of the Day. It's Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ. Subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy podcast now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. It's your Central Coast commute-friendly podcast.